What happens when a woman leaves a domestically abusive relationship? Internally. And I post this particularly for women because I didn't understand what was going on in my fucking head. And I thought I was barking bonkers, losing my fucking mind. I didn't know what was happening. In coercive control, there is, in 100% of cases, a pattern of intermittent reinforcement. There was an experiment called Rat Park. You can look it up. And basically, the rats in this cage were sometimes given a pellet of food that contained heroin, and sometimes it would just be a regular pellet. But they would never know when they were going to get the heroin-laced pellet. So they became addicted to the heroin, but they didn't always get it. This created an obsession with these rats where they would be like constantly, they would push a button and they would get a pellet of food, and it created an obsession where they would just constantly push the button. That's basically intermittent reinforcement, right? In the context of domestic abuse, how that looks like is coercive control. Sometimes the person is insulted, emotionally abused, psychologically abused, or physically abused. And other times, they're given love and affection. But they don't know when they're going to get love and affection versus abuse or neglect. So the love becomes like heroin, right? And this pattern doesn't start from nowhere because normal people don't stay in abusive dynamics. They leave. So often this pattern goes back to childhood, where the parents displayed intermittent reinforcement. Sometimes there was abuse, and then other times there was love. And they didn't know when they were going to get abuse versus love. That damages a person's brain. It also creates attachment disorders, severe attachment disorders, where when they receive love, affection, validation, they're like, come here, not letting you go. Intermittent reinforcement is how you drive a person out of their fucking mind, not knowing when they're going to get love versus when they're going to get abuse, right? So my husband would leave to go and drink. Then he would periodically insult me over and over and over and over again. And then after a few days, he would come back. He would hold my hand. He would tell me how much he loved me, that he was never going to leave. And I believed him. So that love and affection became like heroin to me because I never knew when I was going to get it back. It drove me insane. It drove me out of my fucking mind. So that becomes a pattern in the brain that so often actually is established in childhood. But if you're constantly living in that environment with the domestic abuse, where you're being abused and then receiving love, maybe you receive love, attention, or affection from someone or multiple people, but you're like, hang on, where's the abuse? Because there can't be love without abuse. It's established in the brain. It's a pattern. Love comes with abuse. So if there's nobody there to abuse you, then you start abusing yourself. And that's what happens. So after survivors leave, they often go into these self-destructive spirals, right? And that's because they're trying to abuse themselves the way that their partner did, because it's familiar. And it also is like, I need to do this to get the love, right? Because love came with abuse. So if I don't have anyone in my environment to abuse me, then I need to abuse myself. Otherwise, I believe that I don't get love, or that I'm not, or that I have to do that to get love, or I'm not worthy of love without being abused, or that I have to earn it in some way by jumping through some kind of hoops. At one point with me, I started not eating, and I've never had an eating disorder. And I talked to mental health professionals and I was like, I don't know what the hell is going on with me because I've never had an eating disorder, but I feel like not eating. And they were like, why? And I was like, I just feel like I want the neglect that I feel on the inside to show on the outside. Because if I lose weight, then people will look at me and they will see that something's wrong and they will see how neglected I feel on the inside. Well, my husband used to neglect me. That was the pattern. My family also neglect me. That's the pattern. I ask for basic respect or boundaries, and then they walk all over them, or they call me controlling or entitled for asking for them. Before that, I really thought I was losing my mind because I wanted to get in a relationship with someone who was going to beat me up. And then I thought, I also used to imagine prostituting myself so that I could put myself back. That's what I wanted. I wanted to prostitute myself at one point so that I could put myself back in a scenario where I might end up getting suffocated or beaten up because I wanted to recreate the trauma. But of course, my rational mind knew that that was too severe or dangerous or ridiculous to do any of those things, even though they were going on in my head. So what I did instead was I offered myself to someone for sex, someone that couldn't commit to me, that was guaranteed to neglect me and abandon me, which then happened. And fucking completely cut me up, by the way. I also abused myself by drinking too much. But it was all self-destruction. And because I don't have my family in my life, and I was isolated, I didn't have many friends, then I felt like I was on my own anyway. I didn't receive much love or support. So I would self-destruct and abuse myself, like hitting the button, right? And I would go, where's the heroin? Where's the love? Where's the heroin-laced pellet? That's like the love and the care and the validation. It's not coming. So then I would go, okay, self-destruct harder. And I would go, where's the love? And so then I would hit it again, harder. But yeah, that's the thing. It's changing the pattern, interrupting the pattern. Love doesn't come with abuse. And you don't get love from abusing yourself. You get more abuse, more neglect. So yeah, survivors of domestic abuse, and when I say domestic abuse, I don't mean domestic violence. Sometimes it's just coercive control. You have no idea the amount of love and compassion they need. Yes, they need external love, validation, and support. Don't just tell them to learn to love themselves. It's really fucking hard. Okay, sometimes you need help. Sometimes you need other people to help you, to provide the compliments, the encouragement, the support. Don't leave them to do it on their own. And if you see them self-destruct, don't blame them. It's a pattern.